All right. Welcome to the StarCommand Podcast, Thursday night edition. David Seymour here with Alan Bragg, who will be headed to Arkansas for his Thanksgiving weekend, hopefully picking up some new subscribers. Speaking of, before we get too deep, if you could hit the like, subscribe button, share, whatever you need to do, help us to reach the world. All right, Alan, we got couple weeks left in the college football season, man. I think two to be exact before conference championship games. A couple of big games that are going to be leaning towards what's going on in those conference championship games. Who do you like in the college world this weekend?
All right, so I feel pretty confident about some college picks this weekend. Same as NFL, we'll get to that. But college, everybody except for a few teams out there, I think we know who they are.
Right.
Uh, Same thing as so does Vegas. So the spreads get really good this time of year, right? But let's listen to this list, and I think you'll agree with most of these.
Okay.
Ole Miss minus 11 against Florida. Florida's doing good this year. DJ Lagway's 3-1. But Ole Miss is the real deal. I think Ole Miss is too much offensively. I think they get to the 30-point mark, and Florida doesn't get, stays in the teens. So it's a
Well, and
30 to 40.
the surprising thing about Ole Miss is that defense that they have. I mean, they
They get
completely
after the
shut down
quarterback.
Georgia.
They get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's just one I think Ole Miss easily covers that. Another one's Penn State. They're minus 11 at Minnesota. I think Penn State gets a good solid victory. Defense shows up, keeps them low scoring, and again they get up to almost 30 points. Missouri, yeah, I'm laugh at that
No,
one.
you're not bringing
Just
Mizzou back out of retirement,
It's
are
just
you?
because of who they're playing. They're playing Mississippi State. They're only 7.5-point favorites. They're turning their year around. They have been winning lately, so I think they can cover that 7.5 points. Baylor minus 7.5 at Houston. Baylor's hot right now. I think they continue to win, and they play Houston. Night game in Houston kind of scares me a little bit, but I think Baylor can cover 7.5. Texas A&M minus 2.5 against Auburn, and then Alabama's going to roll Oklahoma. They're only two. If they win by 2 touchdowns, they cover. They're minus 13.5. So the picks are Ole Miss minus 11, Penn State minus 11, Missouri minus 7.5, Baylor minus 7.5, A&M minus 2.5, and Alabama minus 13.5.
All right. I'm with you on the
16 there.
Alabama. I'm with you on the Alabama. I got them on my ticket too. And I've got Indiana plus 12.5 against Ohio State. Me personally, I'm actually going to put in a bet for them to win outright. It's at plus 375. So $100 wins you $375. I just think Kurt Cignetti's got this team believing and playing hard. He hit the Google Me quote a few weeks back. And then 2 weeks ago, he was given a new like 8-year, $8 million a year contract or something crazy like that. Like, I think he's got this team believing in their abilities, and I think they're going to out physical Ohio State. And he's going to use the bulletin board material of nobody believes in you because they say you haven't played anybody. So I really think that he's gonna be able to factor all that in. I don't know for sure if they get the win, but I'm definitely going to try it out. But I definitely like them to cover the 12.5. Colorado and Kansas University over 59.5. All of Colorado's games have been over 60 points for like 4, 5, 6 weeks straight, something crazy like that. Kansas can score. It's going to be a really close game. I hope Colorado wins it, but I'm not even going to put any money there. I like it to go over the 59.5. I'm going to take Notre Dame minus 14.5 against Army. I got fooled with the Navy thing a few weeks back, and I'm not going to do it again. Notre Dame is running it right now. So, and they have to, right? They don't really play anybody. They had the one real bad loss to Northern Indiana University or whatever it was.
Northern
So,
Illinois, yeah.
or Northern Illinois. So they need every big win they can get for style points right now. I already mentioned the Alabama minus 13.5 against Oklahoma. And then I like Texas minus 20.5 against Kentucky. Kentucky's just not been playing good football this year. And really, Texas needs a signature win right now. They looked shaky against Arkansas last week. And they've kind of really looked shaky ever since Quinn Ewers came back from injury. So they need a really big showing this week rolling into that Texas A&M game because that's essentially going to be to punch our ticket to the SEC title game. So again, that's Indiana plus 12.5, Colorado and Kansas over 59.5, Notre Dame minus 14.5, Alabama minus 13.5, and Texas minus 20.5.
I was happy to hear you say you were taking the over in that Colorado Kansas game because I think Kansas is going to upset Colorado. Kansas
Really?
can put up some points and they
Yeah.
look good in
Well,
big
and
games this year. They played well.
they've played the upset twice already this season, so it wouldn't surprise
Right.
me. They gave Iowa State their first loss, and then they gave BYU their first
BYU.
loss.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it wouldn't surprise me. I hope just for entertainment purposes to get Coach Prime in Colorado into the playoff. I hope it doesn't go that way, but I could definitely see it happening. That's why I'm staying away from win or loser or any of that.
Yeah.
I'll take the
Happy
over
to see
because they
that.
can
Yeah.
both score, and neither one of them play great defense. So
For sure. And then I completely agree with I was all on that Naval Academy or all on our, Armed Forces Academies earlier in the season. And then Navy just, I stuck with Navy. Even who was it that blew them out last week? Tulane.
Tulane, yep,
Not only did they not cover the freaking, I think it was 10 points, 7 points, but they lost about 30 something points. So
right, yeah.
Army's different, haven't lost yet. They're still coming in with all the confidence in the world, but Notre Dame has been routing folks. They've definitely turned up, put their foot
Well,
on
and
the gas and
if you
doing
look at
everything they need to
Navy,
do. They're going to end up being in top five by the end of the year.
right, and if you look at Navy, their unraveling of their whole season came after the Notre Dame game. It
Oh
like
yeah.
completely took all the air out of their sails,
They went into that
intended.
game. They had six turnovers, just couldn't get anything going offensively, and then have literally, yeah, they fell off. And it's that confidence thing, when you think when everybody believes in that locker room that no one can beat you, we are forced to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
You show some kinks in the armor and some vulnerabilities, and then momentum is a real thing, confidence. And
Well, and I
Navy
think
doesn't have it, Army does. So hopefully make it a good game. But that's why I stayed away from it and didn't put Army on my ticket.
all right. So you said you had a great pro ticket. I was struggling to find a ticket in there for myself. So
I think there's some great.
I'd
I
love to
think
hear
there's some
what your
great
picks
games.
are.
I think there's some great games, and I'm going off of my 6.5 thing this week just because the freaking lines are minus 6.5. So,
Are they the last I saw they were -7?
oh, yeah, I got them in at 6.5.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So yeah, definitely Detroit -7.
Okay.
Bucks -6. Houston -8. Baltimore -2.5. And uh, stop right there. That was that four
Okay.
teams.
4 teams right there.
Let me
Right.
rerun through that again. So that was Detroit -7, um, Tampa Bay -6, Houston -8, and Baltimore -2.5.
Like it. So mine's very similar. I've got Detroit -7, Minnesota -3.5, Houston -8. I took Tampa Bay and Denver both on the money line because they're both -6 and -6.5 on there. And I know your rule on that, and I feel like they're going to win the game, but Denver's is a divisional game, so that could be wonky just because. And then Tampa Bay, they should. I even forget who they're playing now,
They're
but
playing New York. They're getting Mike Evans back.
yeah, they're playing the Giants, and the Giants have Tommy DeVito, but Tommy DeVito came in and gave them a spark last year, so there's that opportunity for some weirdness to happen. I think at the end the Bucks pulled the game out. Um, but overall, I was going to stay away from the point spread. So I've got Detroit -7, Minnesota -3.5, Houston -8, Tampa Bay on the money line, and Denver on the money line.
Nice. I would throw in Washington on the money line with mine. I did. I bet straight up. I bet on Houston. I was so confident in that game that I actually added points. It was -7, and I added 2 points and put Houston -9.5, just so that I knew if it was a 10-point game, they still
Mm-hmm.
cover. And sure enough, I won. I hit a big lick, just betting straight up, and I'm planning on doing that. I'm not a naive fan.
You're right.
I know what we are, and so I'm gonna
Well,
at
and see,
least
and that's the
cover all
thing
this
is if
bad
you guys
season.
were playing at home, I would take us -10 all day long because you're guaranteed to be down by 20 at some point in time for the game.
Yeah, we let everybody triple our touchdown production at home. We've got one touchdown this year at home.
That is wild. And then you guys had the piece of the stadium falling.
Now we got sunshine problems. We got
Right.
stadiums falling apart.
The craziest thing is I saw a Mike McCarthy press conference a photo from his press conference, and it was held at 4 p.m. about the same time you guys kick off every day, and the sun is shining directly, and it's like they don't even close the curtains for the press conference. Like
I don't even do we
$5 billion stadium, and we ain't got curtains that can block out the sun.
and that's what I was going to ask you. You said they don't close the curtains. I don't think there is curtains. I don't think that they
Yes,
exist.
there is. There are videos everywhere of them closing the curtains for the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight.
No shit.
Yes.
I did not know that. Wow. Getting it. See, that's even worse.
Right. Yeah,
But were those
we can
installed?
close it for a clown show boxing match, but anytime we're
But
playing football, we can't.
yeah, because see, you got to close it at night to give it a more ambiance at night, right? You got to block out the smoon. You
Right?
know,
You gotta block out the moon.
we want the sunshine. You know, it gives us that mystique of like the West and Texas, right? But it can't have the moon coming in. That's a different
Right.
story. And do we
Because
know that
Cowboys don't
those?
sleep under the stars, right?
Do we know? Do we know if those shades were installed after the CD Lamb incident?
We do not know that,
We
but
do not know.
I would imagine as big as those windows are, it would take more than a couple of days to install some shades.
So yeah, that's a nice roller shade contract right there.
Yeah. So hey, I want to do a little word association with you, and just for our listeners, whoever they may be, Alan has no idea what we're fixing to do at all. This is a complete surprise, and so 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was having a certain argument with a friend of mine at work, and then I heard this same argument being had on the radio a couple of days ago, and so this argument revolves around Hall of Famers. So the semifinalist list, which is 25 modern day players that they're going to narrow down all the way up. You know, we find out who's going to be in the Hall of Fame, I think at like Super Bowl time. So, you know, they've got a couple of months to narrow this list of 25 down to whatever it is, the 5 or 6 that they actually put in the Hall of Fame. So I want to do a thing. I didn't take all 25 names. That would take way too much time and effort and energy and all of that. But I took some names for guys that are first time as semifinalists, taking names for guys that are in their 4th to 6th time as semifinalists. And I'm just going to read the name and you tell me Hall of Famer or not. Sound
You
like
got it.
fun?
You
Sounds
got
like
it.
fun. All right. Anquan Bolden.
No.
Okay.
Great player though. Love Anquan Bolden. Love out of Florida State. Love his game, but that's not a Hall of Famer.
I I agree. Antonio Gates.
Yes, absolutely. Change the tight end game.
James Harrison.
He's got how many Super Bowls does he have? Two?
I think no, I think he only has the one Super Bowl with Pittsburgh.
No.
I disagree there, but okay. Rodney Harrison.
Oh man. No.
Okay. Torrey Holt.
No.
Luke Kuechly.
No. Didn't play long enough.
Steve Smith.
No. Guy, Steve's good, man. Steve's good, but not a Hall of Famer. It's just
Right. I agree. Terrell Suggs.
no.
What?
No,
Okay. Fred Taylor.
no.
Hmm. All right. And then this is the one that the debate was centered around. Eli Manning.
Eli's going to get in. So I'm going to
I
say
didn't
yes.
ask you if he's gonna get in or not. Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer?
I mean, he's a two-time Super Bowl champ. He's not elite at any stat or anything.
Let, let me
Um,
let me give you something. Never an all pro. Not one
no,
time was ever
yeah.
an all pro.
This,
Finished his career regular season record is exactly 500, 117 and 117. Led the league in interceptions at least 3 times. Never had a completion percentage of over 60% for his entire career.
no, not a Hall of Famer.
Right. He will get in. I give you that. He will get in because he beat Tom Brady twice. But the truth is why is that I mean, we've got guys on here that have won Super Bowls that were all pros. James Harrison was an undrafted rookie free agent, right? Cut several times, finally makes a roster, wins a Super Bowl, and becomes the meanest defensive player that we've in our generation, probably, right? Probably not a Hall of Famer. He probably won't get in. Fred
Right.
Taylor was a 2 or 3 time All Pro, led the league in rushing twice, right? Was trapped on a horrible Jacksonville Jaguars team. You know, he made the AFC Championship game once, and he's probably not going to get in, right? And I personally think Fred Taylor, I think things like that should be taken into account. What did you do for the franchise that you were with, you know? And
Right.
I mean, Eli Manning's after he won his second Super Bowl, he had 3 consecutive losing seasons, followed by an 11-win season, followed by a 2-win season and a 1-win season. Like
Yeah, I think the years that they won the Super Bowl, they were the sixth seed.
6 seed both years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So absolutely, it's a tough one because you know the politics to be will you don't never know, but you see a path for Eli to get there because of the two Super Bowls, right? That's
Well,
what
and
he
it's
hangs
not
his.
even just the 2 Super Bowls, right? We have quarterbacks that have won 2 Super Bowls that are not in the Hall of Fame. It's 2 Super Bowls against what everybody considers the greatest of all time, which is Tom Brady. You
Yeah,
know,
did Joe Flacco get two, or he just got one?
he's just got
He
one.
just got the one. I'm trying to think of the other two quarterback recent in our generation. Who's the two-time quarterback winner that's not in?
Um, yeah, from our generation, I can't think of any, but I mean, we have I forget what his name is. It's
We also
Jake
had one
something or
guy
another,
one guy
but
winning half of them. So
right. But it just, I I struggle with
who
you
are
know,
the so if
somebody
those
asked somebody asked the question on the radio is, can you tell the story of the NFL without Eli Manning? And everybody brings up, he stopped the perfect season. But really, you could tell that story and never mention Eli Manning's name because you could talk about David Tyree's immaculate reception over I know it's not called the immaculate reception, but the helmet catch. You could talk about that. You could talk about the outstanding defensive line that gave Tom Brady no time to throw. You could literally tell the
you
story
could talk
of
about
that
the Hall of
game.
Famers, Michael Strahan, Tiki Barber's Tiki in?
No, Tiki is not in. His brother
Um,
is. His brother Rondé just got in last year, but Tiki is not in, and I don't think he does get in because he wasn't on that Super Bowl team. He retired the year before.
did they have Jacobs?
They
Was that the
are
guy?
actually retired at the beginning of that season that they ended up going and getting the Super Bowl.
Did they have Jacobs? The
Yes,
big, yes, I remember him. Yeah.
yeah. But
So
so
out of the names that you listed to me, who's getting in? I mean, are not the names you listed. Who'd you leave out of that 25 people? They got to have at least six
man,
people, right?
I'd have to look at my
Because Keithley didn't play
phone,
long
but
enough.
there
He was
was
great. Again, if he puts even 10 years on out there, I think he's close because he's a great, player, thumper, cerebral, great linebacker. Torrey Holt had those like 3 great years.
right while they were the greatest show on turf, and then as soon
Yeah.
as Kurt Warner left and offensive coordinator left, he was radio silence from him. Can't remember. I think Robert Mathis was on that list. One that
Mathis, I
really,
would say yes, because he's going to be associated with with those Peyton Manning,
Yeah.
that group. They got a core group of players. Uh, Wayne, Harrison, Manning, Mathis. Who was the other? Freeney,
Freeney, and then the safety Bob Sanders. Although I don't think he gets in because he stayed hurt all the
Edgerrin
time.
James.
Edrin James, yeah.
There's a good core group of guys there that kind of you think about that team being elite
And
and
then
superstars.
one that really surprised me that was on the list was I can't Earl Thomas, the safety from Seattle that went to Baltimore. Not that I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but I just saw an article like 2 weeks ago that said he's trying to get back into the NFL. So
Hmm.
I didn't think you could be considered for the Hall of Fame until you had been officially retired for 5 years, not just 5 years out of the league, but you had to put in your official retirement papers.
Yeah, and you don't
How he makes
typically
a
sit out
semifinalist, but he's
five
not even
years.
retired.
Yeah, you don't sit out 5 years and just come back.
No,
That's
you
not
don't. I don't think
that's
he's
not
going to ever
football.
get another opportunity. But I just
It's
thought
a
it was
golf thing.
interesting that he was thought he was interesting that he was on this list, and then talking about at the same time that he wants to come back and play. And I, to be honest with you, on that list of 25 people, I'll shoot it over to you when we get off of here. But on that list, there wasn't anybody that really stood out to me, like other than like James Harrison and Terrell Suggs. I think they're for sure Hall of Famers. But yeah, I didn't really. I think Rodney Harrison's probably a Hall of Famer too. Just he struck fear in people. You know, if you look
Yeah.
at like the Steve Atwaters and the Ronnie Lotts, and he played the game that way. And I think that, you know, though it may take him a little while because he was considered a dirty player, because as the rules changed, he didn't. Um, Same thing with James Harrison. You know, he was considered a dirty player. As the rules changed, he didn't. But, you know, I don't know. I didn't see anybody that really stood out as,
It's crazy
has
hearing
to be
those
in the Hall of Fame.
puts time into perspective hearing those names though, knowing they've been out for
Right.
5 years, all of them, you know.
Yeah. Like, geez, I remember these guys. Like, I remember when they got drafted, Eli
Right.
Manning and the whole, oh, I'm not going to San
San
Diego.
Diego.
Well, at the time, San Diego Chargers, which I'm sure San Diego's thankful for because they got Philip Rivers. And to me, Philip Rivers with 0 Super Bowls is more deserving of the Hall of Fame than Peyton or Eli Manning with 2 Super Bowls.
Better quarterback for sure.
Right. So, um, what do you got for us today? Anything?
Man, not really. I saw a funny stat today where Mike Tomlin is like 0 and 5 on Thursday Night Football. And there was he is 22 and 4 on Monday night games. I think he's 8 and 0 in his last 8 Monday night games. And for some reason, Thursday nights they don't win. And it was interesting. It was actually Cowherd was talking about it.
Okay.
And
Oh, love Cowherd.
yeah, he was breaking it down about it. His take on it was that it's because they're the hardest work practicing team. They come in, they hit with pads. They're all business, and they on Sundays are always show up to play. Give them an extra day, they're going to get you because that shows by his Monday night record. Give us an extra day of rest, we're going to get you. Now you shorten that. We're not changing who we are. We're going to be beat up from the week before, but we're not going to change anything. We're not lightening up that week. We're not lightening up the week before on practice to get ready for a Thursday night. You guys want us to play a Thursday. You want us to play a Thursday night game for your new media market, Amazon Prime. We'll go play the game, but we're not changing anything. That was his kind of perspective on it, which was giving compliments to Tomlin. He is who he
Right,
is.
most definitely.
They're going to show up every Sunday, and you give them an extra day. They're all, I'm pretty sure it was 8 and 0 the last 8 games, and 22 and 4 in his career on Monday Night Football, which is amazing. Because usually those are pretty big games, divisional games. They try to match up, on Monday nights. But yeah, so we'll see how the Thursday night game turns out tonight, and see if they can show up and beat a Cleveland team that they should beat. But you just never know.
It's hard. Thursday night games are hard on both teams. Divisional games are hard on both teams. I think really the key factor here is going to be that Cleveland's offensive line hasn't shown up to play at all this season. You know, and Jameis Winston throws some balls into some coverage. There's going to be ample opportunities for interceptions. I was watching the NFL Red Zone last week because the Commanders played on Thursday night, so I didn't have a dog in a fight for Sunday, so I was really just
Which on the third Thursday night point being tired. Remember that first half last week?
Yeah,
There was
10-6.
no receiver was making an explosive play the entire game.
Right. And so I think, that sort of thing favors defenses. And I feel like that Pittsburgh will have just enough offense to keep their defense rested, whereas Cleveland hasn't had any offense at all this season, period. So, I mean, they just got housed by a New Orleans Saints team that has none of the wide receivers that they started the season with walked onto that field last Sunday, and they got housed by New Orleans. So I think Cleveland has a really good defense. They just play tired a lot because that offense has given no help. There's no complimentary football going on there. So be interested to see how we come out this week.
Yeah, I
feel like our offensive production's kind of been stagnant the last couple of weeks. So I'd really like against what's really become a bad team. And, obviously we're rivals and all of that, but I'm really shocked at really how bad the Cowboys have played all season, even before Dak's injury. It's truly surprising. They're not usually this bad. Even when they're bad, they're not this bad. So against a team that we should be able to, based on how they've been playing up to this point, a team we should be able to go out and put a lot of points on, kind of run the ball and work out some kinks. We joked earlier in the season that the Giants were the get right game. Well, we've played the Giants twice already. Cowboys have to become our get right game now.
We are definitely becoming that medication for people. Yeah. And I have no doubt that Dan Quinn this will be a win-win for Dan game. You guys will be fired up at home. Really, I can't say I'm any more worried than the rest of the games. I thought the Atlanta game was something that we could win, a game we could have maybe snuck in there and win. But I'm starting to think can we just keep it within 20? Can we like we kept that game respectable against Houston last week. But the wheels just came off. It's just there's constant pressure on Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
We are not doing anything, got nothing downfield. If we wouldn't have gotten that Turpin 70-yard touchdown, where he caught that quick slant and went to the house, that's what got us some momentum, and we were able to fight. Defensive got fired up, and everybody started fighting, and we kept it close. That's rare we're going to get a huge play like that. We're catching a tight end 6-yard pass, CD Lamb for 7, running back for 1. CD for 7, tight end for 6. That's it. That's our offense. Running back for maybe 2. A 2-yard run is a win for us. So you got Dan Quinn's gonna have them boys fired up. Y'all are gonna be hitting. And again, our only hope is to score early and keep the defense in it, because the defense is gonna give out. It sucks. We can't kick field goals there. Our best players are field goal kicker right now, and unfortunately, even when he kicks a 64-yarder, we get that taken off the board. So. Maybe that should be our offense against you guys. We just get to the 50, kick Brandon Aubrey, take 3 points, but that wouldn't let our defense rest. So, probably bad.
Well, I don't know, man. It just it gets interesting this time of year. You kind of start to, as teams are kind of planning, like, what do you guys do? Like, I'm watching your offense. Obviously, you guys have to fire your coach, and I look at your guys' offense, which Mike McCarthy runs, right? Aaron Rodgers and the Jets offense up north in New York. Aaron Rodgers still runs that kind of Mike McCarthy style offense. And it's that whole line people up and play 11 on 11. We're not going to have any motion or anything like that. With no creativity and none of that, it's
now
kind of really easy.
Did you see the game against Houston Monday? We're running CD Lamb in motion every play. That's our offense.
So just the one guy goes into motion.
Every play, CD Lamb, every play. Let's just run him as many steps as we possibly can and wear him out to where he's dog tired. He's not, and I hate it because the man still, I think, had 9 catches.
Right.
And he's just dog tired. He's not running routes every play. He's 50 running routes 50% of the time. He's taking every other play off. We've got him running in motion. It's sad because he still ends up with 9 catches.
Right.
But what we do is, I don't know. I really thought Dowdle could be a difference maker. I thought he could, but there's no room, and he's not. I mean, we can't run the ball, which
Right.
means they're teeing off on Cooper Rush. The answer is there is no answer, but it's time to let Trey Lance play for the one chance that he can come in and shine for a couple games, and then we can trade him and get some capital for the kid, right?
Right.
Because it looks like we may be drafting a quarterback in the top 10.
I'm, and that's the question, right? Is do you have Dak on a $60 million deal with a no
I
trade
know.
clause, and it's a brand new deal. So anytime if you decide to trade him, even if he accepts the trade, you're still going to take a big cap hit just for
Right.
trading away the contract,
Right. I
which
don't
you
know.
can do if you draft a quarterback, obviously, right?
Right.
I mean, we look at Denver. It's not impossible, right? Denver cut ties with Russell Wilson and said, "Screw it, we'll pay you $85 million to not be here, and we're going to go draft the guy that we think works."
Right. They pulled
You
it
know,
off.
so it's not impossible.
Dak's out for 8. That's an 8-month recovery for that surgery. That's a long time. And Dak already wasn't as mobile. Like, I was begging for him to scramble. And he
Yeah, but
finally
ever
did.
since he broke his ankle,
I know but he did in the Atlanta game. He finally ran for about a 15, 17, 20-yard gain, and he ran again. And of course, that caused him to rupture his hamstring.
right?
And so, oh, he was already slowed down. Now, what's he going to be? I love Dak to death, but I don't know. I just that where do we go get a running back? Why is our defense just not? We're
Well, I
not
mean, you guys will
turning.
probably
We're
be
not getting
picking high
turnovers.
enough to get Ashton Gentry.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. So many we need. When you're this
Right,
bad,
and it's hard, right?
there's
Sometimes you
so
feel
many
like
things.
that drafting a running back in the first round is a luxury piece, right? We've already got everything else. We can go get a luxury piece like a running back in the first round. Whereas we need the Cowboys, we need a whole offensive line. We need somebody to stop the run on the defense. We need some kind of big body defensive tackle.
But we
But
needed a running back going into this draft, and for whatever reason, we let guys fall, continue to fall and fall. Like
yeah,
Jonathan, I think
like how does Philadelphia sign Saquon Barkley and draft Will Shipley out of Clemson? Like that dude was a baller and he's buried on their bench. You know what I mean? Like,
Philly's doing it. They get the two best corners in the draft,
right.
possibly.
Which behinds. They we traded away the second round pick that they drafted Cooper DeJean with. Like, we didn't need any secondary help. And then we go there and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean shut down our whole wide receiving core.
Right.
One wide receiver, Terry McLaurin caught one pass. He was the only wide receiver to catch a pass that entire night. They were
Yeah.
showing a wild, crazy stat about Quinyon Mitchell. He is lined up against every team's number one wide receiver all season long, and nobody has more than two catches for 73 yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
And
That's
zero
awesome.
touchdowns, giving up zero touchdowns all season.
Freaking rookie.
Right. Out of Toledo.
Crazy. Mitchell Allen.
Yeah. And then you get the white boy out of Iowa. And
Dude.
he's just shutting everything in the slot down.
Shutting, running around, just laying folks out all over
Right.
the place. Returning punts.
All of it. I'm like, I'm trying to trust the process over there in Washington because Adam Peters and the whole new regime that we have. But man, when you trade away the second round pick that your division rival uses to get, and now that dude's starting and balling out the way he is, and he was sitting there primed for the taking in a position of need for you, unless they saw the same thing Philly saw and only saw him as a slot receiver, and we'd already just drafted Mike Sanders still. So that could have been how that worked out. But either way, I don't know. Although Mike's been playing lights out on the outside, I don't know that you move him back inside. I mean, he shut down AJ Brown. He was on covering AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and wasn't having none of it. So, which is
Speaking
good.
of D
Which is
backs,
good to
you
good to
guys get
see.
Lattimore this week, right? He's going to play.
I don't know if he's going to be back this week or not. Um, I hope so. We could really use him on
We got a
CD.
big receiving core to hold down, so he needs to
Yeah.
get on that field.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if we just put four guys on CD and throw a couple of
Yeah. We did have a tight back, our backup tight end. I can't even remember his name. Ferguson went out with a hamstring,
yeah,
tapped out early. And so we had we had Schoonmaker and then some rookie, some kid, I can't even remember his name, but he ended up catching like 6 passes, 5, 6 passes. So
yeah.
you
I've heard
take the
reports
small
that
wins.
yeah, I've heard reports that CD hasn't been at practice the last couple of days, and he's thinking about not playing because of his shoulder injury. Which I mean, at this point in the time, you're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs if your star
I,
player's got it
I
injured.
told you, I told you he's going to tap out. That's the Mingo trade. The Mingo trade was to get a young body in there so CD can tap out whenever he wants to. And
Yeah,
I'm good with it.
right. Well, you're paying him $30 million a year
Except for
on a
my
season when
fantasy
he
teams.
mathematically cannot make the playoffs anymore. Why would I? You're hurt. Your big toe hurts.
Yeah.
You got a hangnail in your pinky finger. Go ahead, park it.
Turf toe flaring up on you.
Yeah, right. Like
I mean, he's on two of my fantasy teams, so
that's
that
gonna
does
hurt.
suck because I'm not going to win championship without CD going out there and getting me, the 100 yards and 10 catches. That's what you need playoff time. Um, but
Speaking of fantasy, man, I signed some new receivers last week, and I wasn't sure. I wanted to see how they were going to do before I put them in the lineup. Had Valdez Scantling right score 15 points, more as many points as my other two wide receivers combined, and then I benched Sam Darnold because of who they were playing for Russell Wilson because of who
Sam went
they were
off.
playing, and that was
You won though last
I
week.
would have had the most points in our league if I would have just started those two.
You won still last week, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty big.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you were up there, put big, and I won 69-68, squeak. And I had listen to this. I had CD
That's like a
Lamb,
6-3 win in
dude. It
real
was terrible.
football.
So I have CD Lamb, Nico Collins, and Brandon Aubrey in the Monday night game. And I forget what I needed, but I needed some points. I had a bad week. Everybody, it was a bad week. But I was like, those three guys, I got this, right? CD and
Right.
Nico can go for 25 apiece, and Aubrey's going to get me 10. And when you know it, that first play of the game, Nico goes for a 70-yard touchdown, and he gets called back for a legal man downfield, right? An eligible man downfield. That
Yeah.
would have been a game changer because I have Nico Collins in all three leagues of mine. Nico,
Oh,
Nico was my guy. I took
right.
Nico second round. He was my second round pick in all the leagues. And when he's played, he's been a first round pick.
Right.
If I would have got that first, but I lost the other two leagues because I just didn't get enough. And I had many in my Yahoo league. I had Nico, CD, Aubrey, had somebody else. I had four players going. Oh, it's CJ Stroud.
Okay.
And I needed like 45 points and I didn't get it.
Damn.
No, no. It was it's all right though. I still won by betting on the Texans.
Yeah. I think I was down by like 3 or 4 points going into Monday night, and I had Joe Mixon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe went off. Three
So
tutties, three
I,
tutties.
I knew that was a lock. Joe Mixon on Monday night, and all I need is 3 points.
Oh yeah, 100 something yards, three tutties. Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
was
why
like
that's how you got
134.
them points. That's how you
Yeah.
got up so many points. So yeah, so you're in the playoffs right now. Top eight teams making it. You're sitting at the 8 seed. You do have one person tied with you at 5 and 6, so somebody chasing you. But it's pretty much looks like it's between you guys. We got 3 weeks left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Week 12, week
I
13,
need
week
some big
14.
weeks.
So need to go 2-1. You go 2-1, you'll get in. I'm sitting at the 3 seed, so yeah, I still want to go 2-1. But hey, we're fighting for the points. Overall points gets the most money. I'm no longer in the top three in that.
I'm probably nowhere close to the top five even.
No, let's see. So the top point scorer has 1275. There's one person at 1267. So those two guys, that's the number one and number two seed. They're sitting there at 1270, call it just 1270. I'm at 1170. So I'm 100 points behind. And you are at 10 60. So you were basically
300
two
points behind.
210, 210.
210. Yeah.
But hey, if you can keep scoring like you scored last week,
Yeah. Yeah.
gain, all you need to do is gain like 20 points a week because you still got we got the 3 weeks of the regular season and then 3 weeks of playoffs. So that's 6 more weeks of points.
Shoot. It could be done. If I can get that lineup just right.
Yeah, get that management game. That's why managing hat is key in this.
Yeah.
You gotta have the players. You gotta draft them. You gotta do a couple waiver wires, and then you gotta know who's gonna hit that week.
Right. Yeah, that's really where I've been struggling is I'll get the right waiver wires and then I'll just not get them in the right position at the right time. And
Yeah, I got
I think I outthink myself sometimes on it.
100%. Listen to this problem I have in my sleeper league. So I started off dominating. I had the highest points. I was killing it, early on. Now I've lost, I think, three in a row. So this is my starting lineup on a normal week, okay? It's Jordan Love, Alvin Kamara, um, Jonathan Taylor, Terry McLaurin, Nico Collins, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Aubrey, Steelers defense, and Hawkinson, who I just made a trade for. It was Ingram was my tight end.
Okay.
So I also have Sam Darnold as my backup quarterback. So this is the point. That's my starting lineup. Now listen to what my bench is. Sam Darnold, Nick Chubb, um, Rico Dowdle, Debo Samuel, Joshua Downs. Um, I'm missing somebody. Evan Ingram is now since I traded, I got him on but that's my bench. I basically had, I think I just, oh, and it was Jawan Jennings,
Okay.
who I just traded to somebody for Hawkinson. But I would put my bench up with anybody. I was like, I have a
Right.
bench. My bench is just as good. So that's a problem though, right?
Although
Because
the
then
the Debo thing, man, that's who I'm gonna. So Marquez Valdez Scantling, the New Orleans Saints receiver, who's been balling since he's gotten over there. They got a bye week this week, but I'm gonna replace Debo with him. I got to keep Tyreek in there just on the off chance that he's gonna
right.
finally come through. I think he will this week playing New England. Um,
Same here. Debo has started most of the year for me, but I've replaced him with Tyreek because pulled Tyreek out with that backup quarterback situation. But
right,
now since Nico's off the IR, Nico's in there, and keeping Tyreek just like you said, just for the off chance he gets those 2 touchdowns, 150.
right.
And Debo's on the bench. Yeah, I hate doing it
Yeah,
because
he's not having a great
he's
season.
not finding the end zone.
No, and the 49ers altogether aren't having a great season. I don't know what's going on over there. The injuries. I don't know if they were feeling themselves because they've been to, 3 straight NFC championship games or what's going on with them, but they are not it this year. So
Agreed.
it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Maybe I can maybe I can pull an Eli Manning and sneak in as a wild card and pull off a Super Bowl.
There you go. There's a good thing about this league. This league that we're in, there are no buys. So it's your 8 teams make it. Everybody matches up around round one. A lot of the other two leagues I'm in are 6 teams make it. Number 1 and 2 seeds get buys. So, but not in ours. Ours is our eight teams make it. You're playing round one. And no matter what, the points matter, which is pretty cool too, because you're still playing for that overall money cash grab.
So how does that work if you get eliminated from the playoffs for the overall points?
You go into consolation games,
Okay,
play for like, fifth place, seventh place, 10th place, 12th place.
I got you.
But even if you're playing that 11-12 game on week 16, 17, it would be week 17, I believe. Then you still want to put your lineup in,
Yeah,
because uh, it
points
matters.
matter.
Matters.
Cool, cool. I think that about wraps it up for us, man. You enjoy your week in Arkansas. I know it's been a while since
Absolutely.
you've been there. Hang out with your family, man. Introduce them to the Star Command again, if
Yeah,
you
we're gonna get some
would.
subscribers. I'm gonna grab their phones, do it for
Yeah.
them.
Again, if you would, man, hit that like and subscribe button. Share it with some friends. Help us to kind of just get ourselves out there. And with that, my friends, the Star Command is out.